There are 4 emergency exits, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and may you take time to check that the exit might be behind you. In the case of severe weather, you'll find the emergency vests under your seat in front of you, but these were stolen by the previous guests. And lastly, it has been decided that the use of seatbelts is not necessary. Right, moving on then. Well, hi everybody, and welcome to Tori and Alex's wedding. This is a day that I thought would never happen. Not because Tori wasn't capable of finding a good man, or that she struggles in making decisions, but rather because I thought that I would never have any children of my own. And while that may be true, believe me, after 26 fantastic years, I've come to love and cherish my 2 stepdaughters as if they were my own. If my lovely wife, aka the dragon, had her way, this speech would simply be, thank you all for coming, hope you enjoyed the food, Alex, about time, and a toast to the bride. Thankfully, I don't listen to everything that the dragon has to say. It all started such a long time ago, just as I was finishing high school. Victoria Elizabeth Armstrong was born on the 2nd of September 1982 at 1:03 in the afternoon, weighing an almighty 5 pounds and 14 ounces. That's 2.5 kilos to the majority in the room, and for the blokes, that's about the weight of 5 pints of beer. After what Elaine said was a rather short labour, she literally popped into a very normal world. At the time, Abracadabra by the Steve Miller Band was top of the charts. In America, while we enjoyed Eye of the Tiger, Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister. It was also the year that Michael Jackson released Thriller, which became one of Tori's favourites when she was very young. And the average house price in the UK was £23,500. Happy days. After Greg, Tori's dad, had counted all her fingers and toes, he went out and smoked a well-deserved Hamlet. After all, giving birth is a traumatic experience for a bloke. Yeah, he was there. Well, let's be honest here, boys are easy, but when 3 Armstrong girls are involved, I'm sure he really needed that. Need I say more? First to arrive were Vi and Arthur, Tori's doting grandparents, who went on to feature hugely in Tori and Kelly's early years, as good grandparents do. Vi's calf and the trip to Ruda Holiday Park in Croyd Bay, and the introduction to Rudy Raccoon at the camp mascot deserve special mention. These trips obviously had an impact on Tori, since she revisited there earlier this year with Alex. Unfortunately, it was a disaster, so they booked into the posh Saunton Sands Hotel instead. Enough said. When Kelly was introduced to her little sister, she was not that excited about the arrival of this new bundle of fun, and simply took to ignoring her existence for the first couple of months. When she eventually worked out that her sister would not just magically disappear or vanish, she took to prodding and annoying her to get a reaction. Kelly, stop it! Mummy, Kelly! Was a common chorus in the Armstrong household in the early years. By all accounts, her first years were a delight, and she was an idyllic child. She liked playing with girly things. She only ate spaghetti hoops, bacon, and plain McDonald's burgers. She loved sleeping, loved her mum's makeup box, and dressing up in posh clothes. She absolutely loved animals. I guess nothing's changed. When Tori and I first met, she was 12. I visited them up at the big house at Barnett's Close. I remember Tori saying that there was something wrong with her goldfish and it wasn't eating. So I dived in, had a good mouth, and said it was as good as any fish food I'd ever tried. From that day on, to the Armstrong girls, I was known as a special person. How endearing, I thought. How naive of me. Indeed, it was only later that I came to understand that it meant yellow bus kind of special. And even more devastating to find out that apparently to the girls, yellow buses were only for very, very special people. I guess being considered crazy has its perks, and probably explains why she still queries everything she's ever given to eaten, wondering if somehow she may be served fish food. Well, given that the fish died shortly afterwards, it's quite understandable. Have no fear, my dear, no fish food in your dinner tonight, although I must confess the idea did spring tonight when I saw tonight's food bill. Tori must have inherited her love of animals from her mum. Sweep, a little black Shih Tzu, Daisy, Blossom and Poppy, without a doubt her favourite little bundles of fun. And on entering the house, she would spend at least 20 minutes playing with the dog before even acknowledging the existence of any humans. One day I remember her discussing that she wanted another animal for her birthday, and we settled on a chinchilla. Relatively low maintenance, short-lived, and defo no pooping in the garden, so almost self-cleaning. Great, I thought. Imagine my huge surprise when a parakeet arrived. I remember asking Elaine, "Do you know how long these things live?" "A couple of years," she replied. "No, 21. I'd done my research." If any of you ever seen Elaine in the Butterfly Saga or been to a barbecue with Tori in the summer, just an inkling of a bee buzzing, you'll understand my concerns. Flying things and the Armstrong's girls just don't bode well. It was to be no different with Magic Parakeet, and despite protests, I finally convinced them to let him go to a sanctuary. After all, it was traumatic. The poor bird flapping around the conservatory, the girl screeching and running for cover, while me trying to catch it as it made a desperate dash for freedom. All while the dog went crazy. Complete pandemonium, I assure you. I recall that in her younger years, Tori was not that sporty. Something about having clicking knees and lacking endurance meant that she claimed she could not do it. Personally, I think rather more likely that, a bit like her mum, she has the attention span of a gnat, and she could not be bothered to learn the rules of the game or have the endurance or perseverance to perfect something. This became further apparent to me when I was asked to teach both Kelly and Tori to ski. Put a man through his paces. It amazes me how much patience a man can have with teenagers when he fancies their super hot mum. And then there's the body form story, which I'll leave to tell Tori at some time in the future. This lack of learning, however, never stopped her from doing it her way. If things weren't going quite right, then the lower lip would start to tremble and quiver, and a little tear would follow. I remember clearly when Tori left the quaint little Bowbrook school in Hartlebury and moved to King's High School in Worcester. Boy, how she hated that. It was months of hell for Elaine, and yet the determination, perseverance, and confidence that Tori found as a result of that move has been the making of her. I think that's probably where her love for travel may have begun. Admittedly, it was a bit shaky to start with. Ventures to a friend's house, Leslie Ann, up the road for an overnight stay, ended up with her coming home shortly after lights out. With an exchange student in Spain, we had to fly her home early. And then to the Caribbean island with a gay cabin crew friend, we also flew her home early on that one too. Okay, so staying away overnight was going to take a bit of getting used to. Wanting the girls to have their own independence in their early 20s, Greg and Elaine brought them a house to share. I'll leave it at that. It didn't take Tori long to realise that she wanted a place of her own. I guess living with Kelly full-time was more than just a challenge. She even resorted to going to uni to study tourism, probably realising that Talbot bar work and hairdressing receptionist was not going to cut it for her. I'm not sure whether it was living in a house full of strangers or studying that put an end to uni. I guess she just wanted to be back close to her mum and the beloved dog. To be honest, we had no idea what Tori would end up doing career-wise, and Elaine and I often talked about it. But being of slight build gave her the start she needed. I remember when she was asked to join the rowing team at King's. Interesting, I thought, since Tori could not swim. So it was off to the leisure centre for a couple of lessons, me trying to teach her the finer arts of cutting through the water with grace, power, rolling your head to breathe. Tori was more interested in a doggy paddle kind of technique, just keeping her head above water and not drowning seemed to all that she was interested in. Oh yeah, and not smudging her mascara. Something she definitely gets from her mum. As soon as that skill was mastered, more by the fact that she found out she could stand up in the pool and would have a life jacket on the boat, she went on to Cox for her team at King's College. The skill of cramming a lot of people into a small space and shouting orders at them will become a career path that you know she will took. The year at uni studying tourism, not a complete waste then. The King's school coach was no dummy. Put a hot chick with big boobs in front of a small boat and watch those boys row. Same applies for aeroplanes. Put a hot trolley dolly with long eyelashes and the sweetest smile in a uniform, and even the rowdiest boys will behave. As far as it's fair to say that her career as a flight attendant, Tori excelled, and we could not have been prouder of the day that she got her wings. She went on to be invited on a round-the-world trip with a small bunch of wealthy travellers and working for a small private airline. I would, however, like to think that I had some part to play in the choice of career move. While we were on holiday in South Africa, travelling across the relatively small section, Durban to the Kruger National Park, where I served as a signals officer in the South African Army, and then onto an exclusive private resort, Sabi Sabi, via Shakaland, the film set for the famous Shaka Zulu movie, where Tori and Elaine slept in a real mud hut, more worried about the bugs in the roof than anything else. We stopped to take a break at the mouth of the mighty Tugela River, smell the sea, stretch our legs, and admire the grandeur of the African seascapes. In the barren wilderness, there were 2 other cars, and out of the sky a paraglider dropped, landed on the huge abandoned beach, picked up the young girl, and disappeared. As we watched it fly away, I asked Tori, "How would you like to try that?" "Yes," she said, with a twinkle in her eye. When the small flimsy craft landed again, I asked the pilot if he would take Tori with him. "Sure," he said, and after a quick chat with Mum, she was off, returning 30 minutes later, the relief in Elaine's face becoming very obvious. African deserted beaches, flights with strangers, I guess you get the picture. But the experience. Life is all about those experiences, and as far as I can, I have done all to nurture a life full, and where possible, a bit of adventure. I hope I'm wrong, but unlike her dad, Tori definitely doesn't have a gift for making large amounts of money, or any that have revealed themselves yet. There seems to be a misunderstanding between the term debtor and creditor, a difference between assets and liabilities, income and expenditure. I can only assume that she got her financial training from her mum, and no, I definitely don't want to go there. But a bit of advice, Tori. Buying expensive things in shops and then selling them on eBay and Facebook at a fraction of the price a year later is not a sound business model. In your defense, your determination at getting the job done must be a trait you got from your dad, Greg. To this day, a man I have great respect and admiration for. A man who provided for his family, a man who was loved by his friends, some of whom are here tonight, and respected by all who did business with him. Obviously, it was going to be difficult, the dragon hooking up with a younger bloke, ski instructor to boot. But Greg never brought that up with me. Instead, later we became friends. It saddens me that he left our world so young, and that I stand here in his place today. I'm honoured to have that privilege. Tori has achieved so much that we are proud of. Choosing the right husband is just one of them. Baby, you made the right decision. I can't say that Alex or Big Al and I have always seen eye to eye. That was especially true of the day that he came to that he came to tell us he was going to ask Tori to marry him. After all, have you seen the size of the guy? 6'4". I would have to stand on the chair, so I sat him down on the couch instead. I don't know what happened since. He used to train 6 days a week, flip tires while he was dating, but after they had Sully, that seems to have gone to pot. Well, a bit in the belly at least. Only joking, Big Al, I'm still ahead of you in that department. In truth, it's more down to the company that you keep. They say that a man is the sum of the people he associates with, and I had the pleasure of being invited on Big Al's stag do, much to the horror of my whole family. Well, Tori, the 16 guys that attended that function are of such a high caliber that it would be impossible to find a man anywhere in the world who is held in higher esteem by his friends. But you are definitely going to need to get a bigger fridge. I've truly never seen so few drink so much so quickly. If any of them started a microbrewery, it would be a sound investment. Actually, maybe I found you a new occupation. I've had an idea. If you trade in Al's go-kart in the garage, it would probably be big enough. Okay, maybe not, boys and their toys and all that. Another huge accomplishment was running the London Marathon, sheer will and determination that it took 4 years to achieve. I remember Tori asking me to train with her and run the Birmingham Half. What man in his right mind would say no? Running with Tori has been something I'd love doing the most with her. Well, that and taking her for a walk with wild animals through the African bush. I'm not sure which scared her the most, potentially being eaten by lions or running. Especially since the previous evening we had witnessed firsthand and extremely close up a pride of lions hunting, stalking down, taking down a wildebeest before devouring it, which was gory and traumatic in itself, and had Tori and her mum in floods of tears. The harsh realities of the African bush and life in general. That was until out of the darkness 3 tiny newborn lion cubs came gambling along to join the feast, and the tears quickly joined to squeaks of delight. Maybe it was the thought of being eaten by a lion that made her think it was essential that she learn how to run. In those early days, it was easy training with her. I was able to bark orders just like I was back in the army. Obviously, I was a lot fitter then, and I could run circles around her. In the last couple of weeks before her half marathon, we found out that Tori's wall or running limit was at about 8 miles, when she suddenly stopped, lay down on the pavement, and told me she could go no further. Her lip was twitching, tears running down her face. It was my chance to give her the winners and losers speech, and I ranted on like only I can for about 5 minutes. At the end, she simply said, "I don't care." Boy, can she be stubborn. Definitely gets that from her mum. But bless, after a short while, she got up and we continued. We went on to do 2 marathons together. Later, she completed the London Marathon on her own. No wingman, no running partner. And that day, it was Elaine and I who had tears in our eyes as she finally crossed the line trembling. An amazing accomplishment for someone who said she could not do it. It's fair to say that running with Tori was good for my ego. Only problem, I have to be in front as I wouldn't want to be seen as the older git lagging behind. On our last attempted outing, just before my 50th birthday Everest Base Camp trip, I landed in hospital. Apparently the mind was willing, but the heart was not able. So yes, I would love to go running again, and walking in the bush, but side by side if that's okay. Tori has always wanted to be a homemaker. This started when she was very young. Honeysuckle Cottage was her first house, a cute little Wendy house in the garden. Here she dreamed about her own place sometime in the future, and having met Alex, she decided to settle down. Today we are blessed with a grandson, Sullivan Arthur Barker, and I can't wait to take him on adventures, much to his grandmother's horror. You will understand this if you have seen any of the annual panga wielding, fire starting, gun shooting, catapult slinging, and mum stomping adventures of my surrogate grandfather trainings with Ollie and Jude. I asked Tori the other day when I'd be able to take Sully camping. 18 months' time, I was secretly thinking, and he's about 3. She looked at me with a slightly raised eyebrow and said, when he turns 21. Bugger. Okay, so I've got some work to do. Either that, or I've got to persuade Alex. There's a big difference between 18 months and 21 years. Camping, fishing, flying, skiing, all very exciting for me. So thank you both. Elaine and I couldn't be prouder. Not only do I have 2 amazing stepdaughters, but now we have a grandson too. Tori, you're an angel in my eyes, a blessing to your mum and dad, and an incredible mum to your son. Elaine and I wish you both all the happiness in the world. Alex, welcome to our family. We could not have wished for a better husband for Tori. So, in closing, I'd like to raise a glass firstly to the memory of absent friends and family, and to Tori's real dad, Greg, who can't be with us today. To Gregory Armstrong. And finally, to a lady, a fantastic, loving mother, and I'm sure you'll agree, an absolutely stunning bride. Please be upstanding as I raise a toast to my wonderful stepdaughter, Mrs. Tori Barker. To Tori Barker.
to be able to say this. On behalf of my wife and I, that was an easy win. I'd just like to say thank you to all of you for being here today to celebrate with us. Seeing as we've basically become recluses since having Sullivan, I was amazed at just how many of you responded to say you were coming. The turnout's been incredible, and we're truly honoured to have so many of our friends and family here. It really did make us so happy to know that all of you guys are going to be sharing this with us today. Without all of you here, it just wouldn't have been the same. It would have been a lot cheaper. Massively cheaper. But definitely not the same. I really was banking on a lot more of you not coming. We've been planning this wedding for a little over a year now, and there's lots of people that I need to thank who've made today possible, but I promise to keep it as short as I can. So if I miss anyone, it's because I forgot about you. So, firstly over to my right, to Elaine, my heartfelt thanks go out to you for creating such a beautiful and caring person I've been lucky enough to marry today. That would have sufficed. No more was needed from yourself today. But you've gone above and beyond in helping to make today a reality for us. I know how much work has gone on behind the scenes to bring all of this together, and we really do appreciate that everything you've done over the last 12 months for us. Jay, same goes for yourself. Having to deal with Elaine and Kelly and Tori planning a wedding must have been an absolute riot. But you've also been instrumental in making today happen as well. Tori and I actually only got engaged a year ago. I definitely thought I'd bought myself a 2-year engagement. Easily 2 years, I thought, no problem. But you guys helped so much. We turned it around in a year. So it really is down to the two of you that we're all sat here today, so thank you both so much. Such a joy. It's not stand to my left-hand side. Now, the eagle-eyed among you may have noticed these two gentlemen are in fact not my parents. I know. Eagle-eyed. I know they look old enough and proud enough sat here to pass for them, but they are in fact only in their early 40s. And not gay, apparently. As most of you know, my parents passed away many years ago, as did Tori's dad, Greg, and all but one of our grandparents, but she may actually be a Highlander, will outlive all of us, so she doesn't actually count. But I know how much it would have meant to all of them to have been here today, and how proud they would have been, and they're going to be sorely missed. So with that said, I'd like to propose a toast to family and loved ones, both here and gone. To family. Hey to go. So now to the best man, Wardy of Brains. Combined, I've known these guys for 39 years, and it was an absolute no-brainer to have them both be best men today, for a couple of reasons actually. Number one, I was Ben's best man at his wedding, so basically I had no choice but to ask him. Plus I knew it would really annoy him to write a speech with Tori. Number two, Simon remembers absolutely everything from every night out, ever. And he would literally have just shared any stories he has with whoever else was best man anyway. So, no brainer. However, he's not married yet. And therefore has to bear this in mind for any future speeches at his own wedding, people in glass houses and all that sort of And number 3, they're both more like brothers to me than friends, and have been since we first met. They've helped me out more times than I can remember, and nothing's ever too much. I knew they'd organise a great stag do, which they did, and I know there'll be nothing but complimentary about me in their speeches, which they've both informed me will not only be the greatest best man speech you guys have ever heard, but it may in fact be the greatest speech we have ever heard. Why they've chosen to hold that much pressure on themselves, I don't know. But thank you both for playing your parts today. I told you. A few of you asked me why I didn't ask my brothers to be best men, and that's because we have an agreement between us to not ask each other to be best men at our own weddings, so that we can sit back, relax, and have a drink with no pressure attached. But again, I'd just like to thank both of you for your help today, and with keeping the stag do in line with what I wanted and not what Johnson wanted. Massive bonus. I also need to say a huge thank you to the bridesmaids. I'm sure you'll all agree look beautiful today. You made Tori's hen do a complete success, and one that I know she'll never forget. You all know Tori as well as I do. If she hadn't enjoyed it, I would have been told immediately. But she came back absolutely gutted to have left you all at the villa behind. All the little extra touches and extra effort that went in from all of you, but especially LA and Kelly, shone through and it looked incredible. Where the toe licking and sucking came into it, I'm not sure. But even that apparently didn't detract from the whole experience. In addition to the hen do, I know how much support you've all given Tori when she's either been panic about something wedding related or struggling to make any decisions. Not a frustrating trait at all. All of which has kept her sane and has helped us arrive at this point now. So, with that said, it's more important. I'd like to propose a toast to the bridesmaids and for all your help throughout. To the bridesmaids. And finally, a couple of other big thank yous. Margaret, thank you so much for creating the most incredible wedding cake. I was blissfully unaware of the amount of time and skill that's required creating something so amazing. It far surpassed everything we'd hoped for, so thank you so much. And to those of you that have made a huge trip and effort to be here with us, it's also massively appreciated. Rob, I know you've flown in from LA for just a few days. Amazing, thank you so much. Tom flown in from Ireland by himself today. Amazing, thank you. Taz, driven from Glasgow. Weird, but mate, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And for everybody else who've come, north and south, I know everybody's made such a massive effort to be here, and it really is appreciated. And it means so much to us having you all here today. Now, moving on to the lady of the hour, my beautiful wife, Tori Barker. You look beautiful, you look incredible, and the dress is amazing. I don't know what you were about. I'm absolutely blown away. Firstly, a massive thank you for organising basically everything for today. We've both been pretty laid back throughout the whole process. So if it hadn't been for you taking control and compiling your lists, never-ending lists, today just wouldn't have happened. But not only did you manage to organise the whole wedding, you still managed to be a full-time mom to Sullivan, maintain the entire house, kept me fed and watered and organised, semi-useful some of the time. And I'm just an extremely lucky man to have you. For those of you that don't know, Tori and I met properly at the gym just over 7 years ago. As soon as I saw her in her gym gear, knocking out some squats and some high knees, I was completely sold. But now came the difficult part of asking her out. Have you got that side? Yeah. On the face of it, that should be really easy, but seeing as I'd already committed to loitering on the opposite side of the gym, there was really no easy way of crossing that no man's land. It's weird. I tried staring directly at her menacingly from across the room, but that didn't work. So I was left having to rely on my fitness, my tallness, my keen fashion sense, and ultimately the gun shirt. So I donned my 3/4 length Dying shell suit shorts. This is all real. My white socks, high-tech trainers, my sleeveless Slazenger Sports Direct vest, and sweatbands, double, and that was it. Hook, line and sinker, she was sold. Tori then conveniently got stuck on the monkey bars right next to me. So I helped her down and gradually got talking before finally I bit the bullet and I Facebooked her. Still true. And the rest is history. We've now been together over 7 years, and I'd known for a long time that I wanted to marry her, but managing to organise an engagement ended up proving a lot harder than I'd anticipated. Twice I booked trips to New York, both times they ended up falling through. However, this actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. When I took a step back and really thought about where and how I wanted to propose, I realised that what I actually wanted was to tie it to a place that meant something to me already. When I was little, my brothers and I, we all used to go on holiday at a place called Guy Rock in East Portmouth. And it's a little path that runs from the hotel, down through the fields, into the woods, down to the sea. And for whatever reason, that walk down to the beach brings back these amazing memories for me. So that's where I decided to propose. And I wanted that little spot to mean as much to you as it does to me. And thankfully she said yes. It would have been an absolute car crash if you said it would have just ruined the entire place. Thankfully it was a yes. And actually I've got you a little something Salcombe related to open as well, so chat. It's rap badly, the speed. Nothing to do with the rest. No. Okay, alright. No messing around. Now, traditionally, a lot of people get married and then they move on to buying a house and having kids and dealing with the highs and lows that this brings. But we've literally done the opposite. And for me, the last 2 years shows how strong we are as a couple. And even though we have wildly different tastes in most things, we complement each other perfectly. So here's a very short highlight reel of the last 26 months. Found out we were pregnant, changed my job, got robbed whilst we slept upstairs whilst you were pregnant, had 2 operations, had 2 MRIs, had 6 months of daily nurse visits addressing my wound, as you had to do as well. Had a baby, had jaundice, had to stay in hospital, had no sleep, still have no sleep. Your company went bust, second one to do after you left, bit weird. Sold a house, bought a house, moved house, got engaged, lived without a kitchen for 3 months, lived without a bath for 3 months, renovated a whole house with a baby, organised an entire wedding, had hundreds of firsts with Sully, already had far too many lasts with Sully, but now have 1,000 more firsts to look forward to as the Barker family. I'm incredibly lucky to have found you and be able to share all of life's experiences with you. When I see you play and laugh with Sullivan, it melts my heart. When I'm not with you, I always look forward to getting back and falling asleep next to you again. I love you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding and join me in one last toast to my beautiful wife, to Mrs. Barker. Pass you over to the best.
Well, thank you for that, Al. No pressure whatsoever. Firstly, I'd like to say welcome to one and all. I'm delighted to be selected as joint best man here, along with Mr. Ward. I think it's been an amazing day celebrating the love that these two people have for each other. I think I might have even seen our smile there. I'm assuming, unable to find a single best man, he picked the first two idiots that had agreed to the task. Looking at the competition in the room, we were the best of the bad bunch, to be honest.
So somebody who talks a lot, my wife actually had to stop me during my wedding speech for banging on. She said, I've actually been incredibly nervous, but when I knew I was presenting with Tori, I knew we'd deliver the best 3.5 hours of stand-up comedy. So get settle down, people. So as part of my research, extensive research, I must say, into best man speech, I googled it. I discovered that I must sing the groom's praises and tell you about his many good points. The slight challenge of this is I can't sing and I won't play.
Well, that's the best of our one-liners, to be honest.
Goes downhill from there,
So, from scouring the internet, we devised that apparently one other thing you should definitely not do is get drunk before you make a speech. Luckily, we don't agree with such conventions, so Ben. That was basically just an excuse to put a drink on Al's bar then. So, I suppose we would like to say thank you very much to the beautiful bridesmaids. You look amazing. You've done well to keep and help Tori today. To the not so beautiful ushers, you've kind of been around and done something, I'm not really very sure. But the fantastic occasion that is today has been completely outshined by Tori herself. Tori, I've written lots of nice things about you. I was like, so Tori, you look absolutely stunning.
Yes.
I think, thank you very much. And before we get into too much Al bashing, I would like to say that I've known Tori almost as long as I've known Al. And I can say without doubt, she's one of the kindest, most warm-hearted, loveliest people in the world. And I think it's fair to say, we all know Al's punching one above his weight. It's been a truly special day and a great celebration of the love that you two have for each other. And as Al's already said, we know whose organisational skills are borderline useless at the best of times, so I think that's all down to Tori, her family, and the bridesmaids. So congratulations on that.
So, now on to Alex Barker. Al, Swedish. Gordon, I believe. Big gay Al. A husband? You should applaud here, by the way. So, there we go. Father, and a successful estimator. Something like that. From here on, I would like to explore the man behind the muscles.
So, I suppose you should begin a little bit with how I came to know Al and me making this speech today, which I must thank you for later on. Al and I met at high school many eons ago. We're quite old now. And on the playground there would be a regular game of tennis ball football, requiring no shortage of skill and technique. Well, Al got invited to join, and thinking that he was a big, tall, athletic type, he'd actually be quite useful. Unfortunately, Al's main interest in sport was how cool he looked for the girls. Shocking, I know. Nobody is saying anything about that now. Saying all that, we did end up on the football and basketball teams together. And basically, the main plan was fire it up to the big guy and hopefully the ball would bounce off him and go in the net or in the basket. But how little did we know? It was at this occasion that Al's dad Richard would often attend the games. He'd roll up in his Jaguar, come up to the side of the court or the pitch and simply stand there, basically look cool and impart a few words of wisdom. It was clear to see where Al's laid-back nature came from. It was also around this time that I first attended a visit to the bungalow. The bungalow, yeah, everybody should know where that is. On attending and opening the door to the bungalow, there was a garden gate in the middle of the hallway. Quite strange, I thought, until 3 hounds of hell appear around the corner, standing up, hind legs, teeth glaring, barking like nobody's business. It was at which point that Al darted into his room, returned, water pistol, cat gun in hand. The dogs were quiet. It was the only house I ever knew that required an armed escort to go to the toilet. These 3 dogs that I knew were adopted by Heather and were beautiful angels for Heather and Kevin, but for the rest of us, it was simply a nightmare to visit Al's house. I can only say that for them, they were perfect angels. For us, just a little bit different. It's a complete tragedy that Heather and Richard couldn't be here today with us, but I know they would be just as proud as I am to stand here as your best man, to see the man, father, and now husband you become. So, through various sporting activities and a few lessons together, we became good mates and ended up in sixth form together. It was here that we discovered that alcohol and going to the pub was a much better idea than all this sport malarkey. But on occasion, we could combine the two. After a rather excessive 18th birthday celebrations, well, for a Tuesday, we had to attend school the following day and play football in a game after. The problem being that we spent the whole day walking around school, various comments of, you look a little bit rough there, Thorny. Al, that's a bit of a stench of alcohol you've got going on there. During the match, at half-time, basically we had to call for emergency measures. While there, drinking orange juice on the side, our coach thought we were rehydrating. We were basically just going for the vodka.
On that note,
rehydration is key today, people. After sixth form, and both going off to uni, Al and I kept in touch. It was here that I visited him at Bath, in what could only be described as a slum, basically. While there, prior to going out, I asked if I'd like to do some bench press. Bench press? Why would I do that before we go out, Al? No legs, no squats, no, nothing like that. We need to look ripped for the girls when we go out. Anyway, basically this gym fetish carried on for Al, and his list of injuries and strength, obviously, basically became longer and larger the more alcohol we drank. But more of that later.
so this is about the time that I first met Al. I was about 22 or 23. We met through a mutual friend. Sounds like dating, isn't it? And we quickly moved in together. And now it definitely sounds like dating. But having found the man of my dreams, quit my job, and moved in, I learned to discover what personnel was. And what I discovered was fascinating. He was a very tall, very angry fellow, who never smiled, with no arse whatsoever. Fascinating. So one of my favourite early memories about and anger is when we lived together. It was Sunday evening, and myself, Al, and Robson were sharing a house in Sevenside Mill. Luckily, Rowley had moved out at that point, so it's fine. Al had a busy day. He got up about 2:30, went to the gym for about half an hour, complained about sore arms, and went home. He was angry, starving, and grumpy, standing out. So for the rest of the afternoon, he decided to make himself a Sunday roast. He had everything: meat, gravy, veg, the whole works. The smell wafted upstairs. We were all salivating to see what he was going to bring up. With Robson eating his exotic pot noodles made from scratch. Me with my tuna pasta. We couldn't wait to see it. We saw his head well before his plate as he came up the stairs, due to his abnormal body shape. But he looked so pleased with himself. And then the mighty roast appeared. It looked as good as it smelled, and his little face was beaming. Now, unfortunately for Al, and his big giraffe legs, he forgot about the last step. But flying, the food went all over the place and all over the wall. An absolute classic. Now, Al angry is a funny sight. Al covered in food is hysterical. Like good friends we are, we did nothing but roll around the carpet laughing at him. And the stains are still there to that day. It's not too surprisingly, food is a common theme for Al and I. And also, I've also noticed his calm, laid-back nature. We once attempted to cook a barbecue. Now, that doesn't sound that tricky, does it? It was the summer of 2005, and we spent most of it watching the Ashes and getting drunk. It was a glorious day, great sunshine, and we decided to have a barbecue. Now, we lived in a townhouse, and the living room was on the middle floor. We couldn't be bothered to go downstairs to have a barbecue, so we had the bright idea of having a barbecue on the balcony. Now, Al's a pretty intelligent chap. He's got a good degree from a first class degree. It's a very good degree from a good university. I've got a sports science degree, so I can't be blamed for anything. But we decided to have this barbecue. So we decided to put the barbecue on a wooden balcony and see what happened. The next thing I know, I went out to check, and the balcony was on fire. Luckily, the fireman Al was on hand. He got up from the sofa, put his beer down, grabbed the barbecue, threw it into the garden, still on fire, chucked a bit of water on the balcony, luckily it went out, so that was good. Went back inside, sat down, carried on watching the cricket, and continued to drink his beer. With a blackened balcony and food all over the walls, we never did get the deposit back. Following the success of living together, we headed off travelling around the world. Now, I've got loads of stories here for travelling, all of which have been detailed, so I'm afraid... Oh, I've got an alternative one, should I do that? No, they've all been vetoed, so I've got the family-friendly version for today. We basically travelled up the East Coast, listening to terrible death metal music, and a bit of Backstreet Boys, clearly. And travelled around the East Coast, and lost my mind. There we go. In a tiny van and had lots of adventures. I even lost a toe, but gained a wife. So one particular night, we decided to go out in Manly. We were far too cheap to pay for a pitch, so we just parked up on the roadside, near the pubs, and set off for a night out. Having drunk too much, danced too badly, and got kicked out, we returned to this tiny van where we slept. The only way to get Al in was to put the windows down and have his feet dangling out, so there's three of us in this van.
Is that because he's 6'4"?
It is indeed.
And he's
I might have told you that before. So he went to sleep with his shoes on, and we all went down for the night. The next morning, we woke up with Al effing and driving, fumbling around in the van. Even with our fuzzy heads, we quickly noticed that one of his shoes was missing, pinched by a thieving Aussie during the night. I tell you, Al was hopping mad. So if you're ever in Manly, see a one-legged Aussie with a size 14 white Converse, then please let us know.
Another shot?
We've still got to get in here, it's probably not.
Okay, so although Al came back from travelling with one less shoe, he did come back fully embracing the backpacker lifestyle. For some reason, this involved long hair and dodgy t-shirts. Apparently, ladies love the hair. I don't know why. If you'd have just asked us, Al, we could have told you, both Wardy and I know, you can't beat it. It will go back eventually. Al also quickly returned to the gym to get back in shape. Having given up on the idea of an arse years ago, it was basically shoulders, chest, arms. Of course, quickly, he was stronger than any of us could ever be. And any challenge of the facts was generally met with a big, oh yeah. In the heat of the moment, challenges could often be accepted basically after a few drinks. I believe some were things like shoulder dips on a beach in Barcelona, which I think Guy took the title with that one. I think there was another one doing press-ups in the Cock and Magpie with a Matt Johnson on your back. Dave Addison, easily champion of that one. I believe once Al even claimed he could smash a cream egg with his bicep. Cream eggs everywhere, breathe a sigh of relief, I can tell you. Luckily, as fate would have it, going to this gym would eventually pay off. Al had been going and attending Nick Fit for a couple of months, and disbelieving of the fact that Al would ever do cardio, I figured it was about time to go and see what was going on. He'd already mentioned that there was this girl at the gym, and upon entering, I saw Tori. I quite happily said hello and mentioned to Al, well, that's Tori from the town, but when we were 18. No idea what you mean, Tori, but she's quite fit. I'll leave Tori to deal with the fact that Al didn't know who you were, so it's fine. Cut, anyway, as you've stolen my line now. Cut to Tori's on the monkey bars with her little legs dangling away, and somehow suggesting that Al should perhaps help her down. Unsurprisingly, he jumped at the chance, and the rest, as they say, is history.
So for all his dubious traits, Al is truly a fine man, a genuine friend, and confident that we all turn to in our times of need. He listens, cares, advises without judgment, and will truly do anything for his friends, family, and brothers who he holds so dear. He's been through a lot over the years and has to grow up quickly, but having met Tori, they have built a wonderful life together and have a beautiful son and son. He's found true happiness, and we for one are absolutely delighted. Just like to say, remember tonight, for it is the beginning of always. A promise, like a reward for persisting through life so long alone. A belief in each other and the possibility of love. A covenant made today, which at once binds two souls and yet severs prior ties. A celebration of the chance taken and the challenge that lies ahead. For two will always be stronger than one, and love should always guide your lives. Only an announcement today of the world for feelings long held, promises made long ago in the sacred spaces of your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to stand. We love you guys, and we wish you both everlasting happiness as you embark on the next great adventure together as man and wife. We hope you have a life filled with happiness, creativeness, and lots of wonderful memories. To the bride and groom.